Hey guys, I'm Rich. Welcome to Rich with Cars. If you're not subscribed to the channel, make sure to subscribe because I talk about all kinds of different car content and different car news. So make sure to subscribe to stay updated on all the different news regarding with cars. On today's episode, I'm going to be going over how easy or difficult it is to enter into an EV if you're coming from an internal combustion engine vehicle. And I have a Tesla Model 3, which is a 2023 model year. I'm here in Montreal, Canada, and I rented this car for 1 week. So it kind of gives you an impression of how easy it is to get used to all the different features and to drive an EV. I'm not gonna go through the typical review scenario of doing the exterior, interior, and all that other stuff, but instead, I wanna tell you guys about some things that are good and some things that are bad in terms of getting accustomed to an EV vehicle, such as this Tesla Model 3 2023 model. So guys, as always, let's strap in and take a look. Alright guys, so let's get started with some of the things that are a little bit tough to get used to with an EV. Let's start with the inside. So first things first is the fact that from one side some people might see it as a positive. I see it as a negative. It's the fact that there are absolutely no buttons whatsoever on the interior of the car except for these two dials that are clickable, and you can go basically side to side and scroll them. And then that's basically it. You have just this screen that controls absolutely everything in the car. And for me, that is a big no-no, because for somebody to get used to a new type of car, which is an EV in this case, and you're coming from internal combustion engine, you can't find any of the stuff that is typical in terms of the layout. So let's say you want to open up the glove box. So it took me at least a couple of days to really get used to the location of where that function is, which allows me to go into here, which are all the main car functions. I tap there, and then there you go, glove box right here. So that opens up the glove box. I mean, that's so unnecessary in my opinion, but I understand why they did this. It's for cost cutting, because they don't require a multitude of additional buttons and materials to basically stick on the inside. So they basically stick everything inside through software into one large screen, and that's it, and makes it very minimalistic inside. So even though it's great, this thing is filled with features, and I mean filled. 1 week is definitely not enough. I know some Tesla owners that have had their Teslas for 3 months and they still don't know all the features. For me, like I said, is the fact that you don't have physical buttons and controls to be able to control the car, because you just have so many different things that you have to get used to on the screen. I'll give you just one last example. We have the AC. You have to click on or press on, this over here, the temperature. And then everything is over here, including, which I hate, the vents, which come out of this area right here. And you cannot manually adjust them. They have to be adjusted through the screen over here. It's a cool little gimmicky thing, as you can see over here. But I personally don't like it. I have to go into a screen to be able to adjust the actual vents. It's a little bit too much for me. So that's dislike number one, and a tough thing to get used to with an EV. So number two thing that I dislike, which I believe most EVs will have, including this Tesla Model 3, even though it might make you feel like you have more space and it's a more open, airy feel, is this massive panoramic roof. Now it cannot get opened. It's just glass, which gives you more of an open, airy feeling, but I don't like the fact that you cannot close it. It doesn't have any shades, whether automatic or manual, to close that up. And I find that this is not tinted enough on sunny days, for example. And if you touch it, by the hand over here, it is quite warm. So I'm sure that there's some warmth that comes through here. And I personally don't like it because, in my personal vehicles, I have everything that's tinted. I like it dark. And this over here is not a really cool thing for me, even though I do like the idea of having an open panoramic roof. I just don't like the fact that you cannot close it with a shade, whether manual or automatic. So that's my dislike number two. number 3 thing that is a little bit tough to get used to with an EV, which I personally disliked, is the fact that if you do want to charge your vehicle, of course, if you end up owning one, you'll most likely put a level 2 charger in your residence if you have that luxury of doing that, because some people might live in an apartment, some people might live in a condominium. But if you live in a single family residence, you can install a level 2 charger, which will make things much simpler. But if you don't and you're looking for a supercharger, now don't get me wrong, Tesla does have the best charging network out there out of any EV company or any EV vehicle. If anything, I'm not a huge fan of Tesla, but if anybody asks me if they want to get an EV, I always recommend for them to go with Tesla just because of the charging network. Now, one thing that I did experience while having this car for 1 week is the fact that when you're looking for charging stations, sometimes you might not know, it could be a little bit of an inconvenience. And why I'm saying that is because when we were here in Montreal, I'll show you guys, we were looking for charging stations, and you can basically click on navigate and then go into charging over here. It'll show you all the different charging stations, and you can even choose by the different kilowatt hour charging speeds. So let's say I want to go just for 150 kilowatt plus, I just leave the 3 bolts over there, and it just gives me those, the supercharger networks. I can put other ones as well, and I can put all of them. But let's say for just the Tesla superchargers, we decided to go to the one that was in downtown. While we're going there, I'm trying to look for the Tesla superchargers. I can't see anything, and then all of a sudden I see that the GPS is taking me into a hotel underground parking lot. So long story short, I go into the hotel's downtown underground parking lot. I have to pay for parking for the charging. I find the superchargers inside the parking lot. Of course, I park the car, plug it in, and ultimately I had to pay for parking at the same time to charge the vehicle. So I ended up charging it for about 20-30 minutes. I ended up paying like, I think it was $7 or $8, but I mean, I had to pay $7-8 on top of the fact that I pay also for the charging, which is still cheaper than paying for gas. But that's one thing that could end up being a little bit inconvenient, is the fact that in larger cities, you might find some of these supercharger stations in areas or locations where you do have to pay for the parking itself. Now, I want to talk about the things that are a little bit more convenient or easier to get used to. Despite the fact that I did say that it could be inconvenient if you are looking for a supercharger, it definitely, on the flip side, is more convenient when you do get into an EV, because you do not most of the time have to go to a charging station. If you have the luxury of being able to install a level 2 charger inside of your home, then you ultimately delete the fact of having to go to a supercharger station, unless you're going long distances. Aside from that, go back home, plug your car in overnight, and you're ready to go. That is ultimately super convenient, because at the end of the day, that basically deletes the fact of you having to go to a gas station any longer. And of course, the fact of charging your vehicle through your supercharger at home, your level 2 charger, ends up being much more economical compared to, let's say, paying for gas. Now, gas prices have gone up a little bit high, and of course, that ends up being much more monetarily efficient to do that. Not only is it better in terms of convenience, because you don't have to go anywhere, especially if you have the level 2 charger at home, it's also much more affordable. For the 2 other things that I want to mention that are easy to get used to and might end up even making your life easier with an EV, I'm gonna have to take you on the road so I can show you guys. The first thing that I started getting used to, and I thought initially I wasn't, but after driving the Model 3 for a little while, I ended up really enjoying this feature of this, and probably many other EVs that have this as well, but is the fact of the one pedal driving. So when I'm driving, I think in the past week, I've probably used the brake pedal once. That's it. All I've been doing is just pressing on the go pedal and letting go of it, and then it just brakes. Let's take a look at how it just brakes when I let go of the go pedal. So I'm pushing the go pedal right now. You can see on the screen as well that when I'm pushing, it shows black, which means it's using battery. When I let go of it, it's green, which means it's recharging. It's basically self-regeneration. Now I'm letting go of the go pedal right now, and it just brakes by itself. I'm completely stopped right now. So this is a really cool feature of any EV, because some EVs will have more regenerative braking than others. I find Tesla does it pretty well. It makes it very convenient, you know, especially once you get used to the way or the amount of brake that happens or regeneration that happens. You can even time the slow down of the vehicle at the appropriate time. I was able to get used to it within a week. The second thing that is easy to get used to with an EV, especially with this Tesla Model 3, is the immediacy of the acceleration, and that applies to most EV vehicles. And there's a massive benefit to that if you need to overtake somebody, or even if, for example, you have a yellow light that is about to turn red and you want to make it, you basically press on the go pedal and you're immediately going at faster speeds. So if I need to accelerate, I can show you guys right now. I'm gonna press on the go pedal. And if you need to overtake somebody or just make that yellow light on time, this definitely is a lifesaver in that sort of way. It's something that you never get tired of, because it's so convenient to have that immediacy and acceleration. The fact that you have no lag, and if you just need to make a quick left turn like I am over here, the beauty of it is two things. One is the fact that it accelerates so quickly. There's all the torque is immediate right from 0 speed, and then the second thing is the fact that there's no lag. So you have the torque right at the bottom, and you have quick acceleration. It's the second thing that I enjoy that has to do with the drivability of an EV car, especially in this Tesla Model 3. So I just want to give you guys some bonus stuff that's not very specific to EVs, but more specific towards this Tesla Model 3. And it's not specific to the 2023, but I mean just generally. So please don't kill me for this. I didn't have the phone key for the Tesla because I am renting it. So most of the time when you do get the Tesla and you own it, you get a phone key with it, but you also do get a backup key. And in this case, since I rented the car, he only gave me the backup key. I did hear and I did understand that you can also do a guest feature in the phone key. I didn't get that this time. This is what it is. So the only way I get in and I start the car is with this key card, and you unlock it by putting it here. Now I despise this. Why? Because if I have my hands full, I can't unlock the doors as I'm walking towards the car. I have to go into my wallet, I have to take it out, I have to put it here. It doesn't even read the fact that I'm approaching the car with a key. And even worse is the fact that if, let's say, I give the key to my passenger is just trying to get into the passenger side, they can't open, they can't lock it or unlock it from here. So they have to go to the driver's side, unlock it, come back to this side. Super, super, super inconvenient. Now the other thing that I honestly despise, I hope Tesla changes this, is these door handles. Man, if I have my hands full, I can't even like go around or anything. I really have to use have one entire hand available to open this door. It's super inconvenient. So yeah, it might open like this and then you can pull, but the fact that you have to do this and then catch, why doesn't it even stick up by itself? I don't understand. Very, very inconvenient. So those are the two things I really, really despise that are specific to the Tesla Model 3. So the one thing that I do like about this Tesla Model 3 and most EVs, now this is specific to this Model 3, but most EVs will have this. Some will have larger than others, but this specific Tesla Model 3 has a frunk. And the good thing is you have extra storage space in the front of the vehicle because it's not an internal combustion engine. So this area is not taken up by an actual engine because the batteries are on the floor of the vehicle, and then you have the electric motors in between here and then sometimes in the rear as well. So it allows most EVs to have extra storage space over here to put smaller items. And like I said before, Some of the other brands that are EVs won't have such a large front trunk or frunk area. For example, like the Hyundai group vehicles, like the Kias on the Hyundai Ioniq 5, Ioniq 6, they just have like a really small compartment that with a small plastic cover that opens up. But ultimately, I find the fact that this Tesla Model 3 having a larger frunk is super convenient, even if you want to put like groceries and stuff like that. So that's a really cool thing to have. So guys, I hope you really enjoyed this quick overview of whether it would be convenient or easy to get into an EV if you're coming from an internal combustion engine. My time with this Tesla Model 3 2023 model year for 1 week was, I'd say, in between. Can I easily get into an EV? Not as easy as I thought, especially when it comes to this Tesla Model 3, because of the things that I mentioned before. It does take quite a bit of time to get used to. If it would be another EV, like for example, one of the previous videos that I did on the Genesis G80 electric, which you can check the review for that up here, then at the end of the day, it really depends on which EV you're looking at. But there are certain things, especially when it comes to Teslas, that require quite a bit of getting used to. But in the flip side, you'll get some things also that you'll get as a plus as well from getting an EV. So once again, guys, thank you very much for taking a look at this quick overview of the Tesla Model 3. Don't forget to subscribe and watch for other videos that have to do with different types of vehicles. Thank you very much for all the views and the likes. One thing that I did want to say, I did rent this vehicle from Turo. And if you guys are ever in the Montreal area, you can check out this particular vehicle. I'll put the link in the description below, and hopefully the owner of this vehicle will benefit out of this. I'm not getting anything out of this, so guys, please don't think that. But he's been really incredible with me. As always, thank you very much for all of you guys, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Take care. Bye-bye.